Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and this one is my second project for February for the Scrap FX design team. So again, I'm playing in the Kraft junk journal, and I am creating on a page, a single page, but it's one that I have made bigger by adding a piece of craft onto a tag, just for the purposes of really this video for you guys to see, and just so that I've got a bit more space to work in really. So I'm going in with a piece of the graffiti collage paper, which I've torn diagonally across the page so that I can have some text on my page, on my background, but I've still got some of the lovely craft colour showing through as well. Sticking this down with some matte medium. So once that was dry, I'm then going in with some nice warm colours. So I'm starting off with Ruby, and I'm using one of the round brushes from Dina Wakley Media. After I've used Ruby, I then go in with Tangelo, and I'm just adding that, and I'm just overlapping it with some of the reds as well, just so that will kind of blend together a little bit. So this is going to start off with quite a warm vibe with the warm colours that I'm using. So then once I've got that colour down, I've then washed my brush, given it a little bit of a dry, and I'm then going in with lemon, and again I'm just blending those colours together. The paints are wet, so I haven't dried them. Generally speaking, when I use colours that are in the same sort of family, I don't tend to dry them before I use the next one, unless I specifically don't want them to kind of blend together. But in this case, it really didn't matter. So then I'm using the Star Struck stencil. I'm using it with some magenta. I'm just adding some stars as a bit of a pop onto that background. Again, just to add another layer and start to build up those layers on my journal page. So next I'm using the Vision stencil. I'm just using a bit of the pink that's still on my blending tool. I'm just adding a little bit of text through that stencil and onto my background. So then I've taken one of the Snarky women from the collage paper, and I'm just cut her out, and I'm going to add some white gesso, white paint rather, onto the back of the image, and that's just to kind of make it so that when I stick it down, it doesn't sort of melt into the background and disappear. I want it to be quite opaque and to stand out really from everything else that's going on. So that is the purpose of adding the white onto the background. So next I'm using one of the chipboard quote bubbles, and just adding some white paint onto that as well, because I want that to stand out on my background, which is quite busy, quite bold, and I felt that the colour of the chipboard would just kind of get lost on the background. So by adding that white onto it, it's going to be a bit more of a contrast with what's going on my page, and it will stand out a bit better. So with the paint that's left on my glass mat, I decided rather than waste it, I would just water it down and then add some splatters onto my page, so just to start and break that background up a little bit. And who doesn't love a splatter on a page? I certainly do. I think it's a great way to add another dimension to a page. It's a very simple thing to do, but it can be so very, very effective. So next I'm using a neon Posca pen and I'm just adding some pink. And initially I was thinking I'd just add the pink around the edge of the chipboard bubble quote, but I decided it looked a bit weird. So then I got some on my mat and just used my fingers to just smudge that around on the chipboard piece, and it kind of worked a bit better really. So then I just thought, right, I'm going to just get the baby wipe and just help move some of that ink around a bit. So it definitely worked better all pink, to be honest. And then I'm just using the archival ink and just adding some bits of black onto the edges there, just to help that to stand out a little bit better from the background, particularly now it's pink. So I should maybe have just left it that chipboard colour, I think, perhaps, with hindsight looking back. But you know, it doesn't matter, it's all part of the process. So then using up what's left over there, just doing some splatters again. Then I've stuck that figure into my book using some matte medium. You can see, because it's got the white paint on the back, it is a much bolder image, and it stands out quite well from the very colourful background that I've created. So then I'm using a quote from the Snarky Quotes Transparency, just cutting it up to stick it onto that little bubble up at the top. I'm going to use some clear glue to stick that in place. So then I'm just adding some dots onto my page. Sometimes I do this with my Posca pens, and sometimes because I've now got this amazing stamp that I designed for Funky Fossil, I use that to get my dots down, and you can see it does just help to kind of blend those images onto my page. Sometimes adding some nice stamped circles in a white or a black is a really great way to get contrast onto your page too. So, and you'll just get a feel for when your page needs that extra dimension really. And I kind of like how this looks. So collect things that are different shaped circles. They will be brilliant to just keep in a little stash, and they're useful for when you want to stamp some different size circles onto your page. Then I felt that this just needed a little pop of a contrast colour, so I'm going in with my turquoise Posca pen and just colouring in the stripes on this lady's dress or shirt. And then pretty much that is this page finished. So it was lots of fun to create, especially using those nice warm colours on the background, and then just using this turquoise as the little pop of contrast there too. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this page in the Kraft Junk Journal, using lots of lovely Scrap FX products. So yeah, I hope to see you again soon.